What's up, Authentic fam? Want to wish you guys a motivated Monday. Also, welcome to another conversation with Authentic Alphas. It's your boy Ayindei, and right about now, I want to go ahead and share some tips and reminders from 6 other Authentic Alphas that I do appreciate and value in the space. So I put together a handful of clips that I could go over, add my opinion and experience to, and I'm going to expound upon each of them one at a time. So let's kick it off with the Godfather himself, Mr. Kevin Samuels.
Women. You don't need to be doing anything with women. You need to be a monk until you get your stuff together. That means some sort of profession. Because honestly, man, you're not living like a man. You're living like a woman.
Damn.
What's the most you ever made per hour?
19 an hour.
The average woman in this country black woman earns $37,000. Effectively, you're a woman.
Damn.
I'm not joking, man. I'm not saying this to clown you, but I'm concerned that you came in talking about women, and you got to get someplace to where you're earning enough money, because I don't think you understand. You need to get a profession or two, and putting in 60 hours a week minimum. You're behind, man. You're really behind. 27 with
Yes,
3
sir.
kids. So women are not on your radar. So I said, you need a roommate so you can save money. Is that your roommate?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Male or female?
Male.
Okay. You only have one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm a fan of more. I'm honestly a fan about guys like renting a house, 3 to 4 guys to a house, separate bedrooms though. No sharing
Sure.
bedroom. But seriously, because you can dig yourself out of this, but you got to get a profession and a side job because you need a career.
All right, guys. So basically, this young man had called in the show asking Kevin, how does he basically identify a lioness? Now, Kevin, of course, first is going to get a little bit of an understanding on this guy, a little bit of background so that he could put it into context. And what he discovered is this guy's not on his grind. He's not on his purpose, hasn't even discovered what it is yet. And basically, women are the last thing that he needs to be concerned with until he gets his shit together. Now, this is something that I see often, coming from young guys. And I handle it very similarly. First, I try to figure out and gauge where's this guy at. And then a lot of times I'm like, hold on, dude. Girls shouldn't be what you're concerned with right now. In fact, that's why you're having difficulty with women, because you don't even remotely have your shit together. And the worst case is that you actually do get the attention of a female, and then you can do absolutely nothing with it because you're not in a position to lead. You're not controlling the narrative. You don't even have a frame to maintain. So I think Kevin gave him excellent advice. Mine wouldn't have been too far off. I think he did add a very, very, actionable idea, which was to consolidate resources and go ahead and just get him not 1, but 2 roommates, which is something that I regret not doing. I actually had the money for property. I had been saving for years, and I decided to grow up, settle down, get married, and I bought property with my wife, and that was a terrible mistake. What I should have done was actually bought property with one of my best friends, who actually had made the exact same mistake I did. He went and bought a house, and got married. I went and bought a condo out of foreclosure, which was genius because that condo is triple what I paid for it in value today. But I did the same thing he did. I went ahead and bought property with a woman, and both of us that ended up failing because of the women, when what we should have did was actually bought property together and live together and rent out one of the other properties. That would have been the smart thing to do. And right now we would both be in a better position and own more property. So I think great advice on Kevin's behalf. You guys gotta get your shit together first. You gotta make strong investments for the future before you even entertain the distraction, which is women. And when it comes to women, if you don't actually have a plan and a purpose that you're going to incorporate that woman into, she is going to be a waste of time and a distraction by definition. I hate to tell you guys that. I know it's contrary to what you've been taught and how you've been raised, but that's just facts right there, man. Women are a distraction. Even when they're behaving correctly, even when a woman's behaving right, she's still a distraction because she requires so much time, so much energy, so much resources. So it's not that women are bad. It's not that you're not deserving of a woman, but you have to make sure that you put yourself in a position where you not only deserve a woman, but you can afford to maintain a woman without it impeding upon your goals, your livelihood, and your overall future. So let's move on to the next clip.
So I'm going to demonstrate here how to open. All right. So let's say I see the girl. Okay. Typically they're going to be with friends or they're going to be walking or doing something. We'll just have this situation where she's standing still. Okay. I walk straight in. Hi, can I meet you real quick? And this will be an example of a physical opener. So note that I have a hand on her side. I shake their hand almost every time. Okay, I don't care if you think that's cheesy. Banged over 1,000 girls like this. All right. Hi, can I meet you real quick? What's your name? And she would say her name, and then I start talking. And when I'm talking, I'm using, and this isn't about vibing. We'll make separate videos on vibing, but you're going to be speaking with body language, differing facial expressions. When I watch students a lot of times in the club, they'll be like this. They'll be standing there and they'll be like, hi, and I think that this, and blah, 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 like this, and it looks fucking weird. It looks like you're a robot, okay? You want to be making animated facial expressions, moving your hands around, okay, in a natural way.
All right, so that was my boy, John Anthony, relatively popular coach in the dating space, in the manosphere, and I think he's spot on with the body language. It is extremely important to have a very masculine frame. Confident, assertive, determined, and obviously expressing that you're not only comfortable, but that you also have a plan. And that plan is going to be fun and interesting and valuable to the woman. So you're basically reeling her in and reassuring her that you're worth it. But here's the thing. I'm going to also have to go ahead and put another perspective on it where I think a lot of young guys fall short with the questions that I get. A lot of you guys are told to maintain frame. That is very true. The thing is, a lot of you guys don't even have a frame to maintain. That's the issue. So it's kind of like the advice of just be confident. A lot of you guys can't just be confident because you aren't confident. Okay, being confident is an expression of the fact that you are confident. So in other words, it has to be based on something. So you can say, for example, how do you carry yourself like $1 million if you don't have $1 million? So I don't want you guys to start wasting time trying to practice how to imitate something. I'd rather you put your time and effort into actually building something that's genuine. So remember, I'm all about authentic. I'm all about authentic shit. So don't go out here trying to pretend to be tough, pretend to be confident, or pretend to be assertive, pretend to maintain frame. What you guys need to do is first build that actual frame. Are you going to build it out of clay? You're going to build it out of wood? Or are you going to build it out of steel? That's up to you. All right? So figure out what it is that you want to be and build that first. Now, when you have that, you can go ahead and express that to others. You can showcase what you are, who you are, what you're made of, what you're about. All right? So that has to come first and foremost. So this is very similar to the first clip with Kevin. You guys got to make sure that you are somebody before you start trying to convince a woman that you're somebody. You need to first be somebody. You need to first convince yourself that you are somebody. You can't fake masculinity and you can't fake confidence. All right? So let's move on to the next.
A non-creepy way to seduce a woman when you're on a date with her. It's very simple and very subtle, but it's very, very powerful. Touching your legs together while you're talking. So an easy way to do that is, rather than sitting across from her, sitting next to her and very subtly having your leg brushing up against hers and just resting there next to each other while you're talking. I guarantee you this is going to supercharge the interaction and the chemistry and make the energy between the two of you a lot more intimate and sexual than it was before, no matter what you were talking about.
All right, now that was my boy Sterling Cooper. Super cool dude. Keep in mind, most of these people, I've met them, which is why I'm co-signing for them. So actually, everybody on this list, I've either met them or have very close associates with them. So Sterling Cooper is definitely somebody that knows a lot when it comes to not only body language, but actual touch. So if you're not familiar with him, Sub to his channel, check him out, and you'll see the background that he's coming from. Trust me, he's experienced when it comes to touch, if you know what I mean. But yes, touch is very important when it comes to women, and it's actually one of the best forms of communication that you can have with a woman, along with eye contact, and of course, learning how to control and manipulate and influence her emotions. With women, words are nothing unless you're using those words to get an emotional response. And touch is nothing unless you're using it to get an emotional response. Eye contact with them is nothing unless you're getting an emotional response. So remember, when it comes to women, everything is all about emotions. But to kind of expound upon what he said, coming from a background of being a male dancer, I understand that touch, of course, is very important. And for us, it would go from visual rhythm into the female actually coming over and wanting to touch us, and then in turn, we touch them. So I'm actually used to working the entire gamut, going from eye contact and visual expression to body language and rhythm to her touch and then my touch. All right? So touch is very important because it's in a way to electrify the situation. Just like he said, it enhances everything. If you say something to a person from a distance, it's one thing. If you say something to someone over the phone, that's another thing. But you see how we're getting more and more distant. And it resonates more and more the closer you are to that person. So if you're talking to them on the phone, that's, the furthest form of communication besides reading something that someone wrote, because you're hearing them. Then, once you throw the FaceTime into the aspect, now you're actually seeing them. But neither is as strong as talking to someone in person and making the eye contact. Now, how do you even add more to that, intensify that? Obviously, you add touch. So if an older man is talking to you, a big brother or uncle or whatever, and he's saying what he's saying, and then he puts his hand on your shoulder, trust me, it's going to amplify the message and what he's saying. He puts his hand on your shoulder and looks you in the eye, it's going to amplify what this man is saying to you. Well, guess what? It's the same thing with a female. So it's just part of human nature. It's part of how we evolved. Take advantage of it, but be skillful with it. Don't be creepy. Obviously be very confident and do it in a way that makes her very comfortable. Start off at 0, make your way to 60. All right, guys, next clip.
I kind of accidentally got thrown into this whole red pill girl pickup space, and I don't really think I'm there so much. I really try and focus on masculine excellence. Like, there's only so much game you can learn if you're clearly a fucking dork. Right?
Yeah, right.
When a nerd comes to me and goes, I'm a total nerd, I want to learn game. I'm like, bro, you need to learn more than game.
How do you help that guy?
But he already knows the answers. How you help him is to tell him the truth, because he already knows what he needs to do. He's just not doing it.
So what does he have to
Right.
do? Just make a ton of money and...
It's not even about money.
He's got to grow a backbone to begin with.
And you can do that. If you improve your physicality, you usually improve your mentality along with it. And men are expected to be wise and interesting. He needs stories. You're not going to have stories unless you've taken risk. So you need to get some balls and live a life. I told him, man, go get on the train in Portugal and ride it for 3 weeks all the way to Singapore and think about what a fucking punk you are. At least you'll end it with some stories.
All right, I can so relate and agree to my man Andrew Tate on this one. One of the ways that I've always been able to be interesting to women is that I've done so many things, been so many places, met so many people, tried so many different careers, hobbies, environments, cities, countries, states, that I have a lot of stories to tell. I have a lot of interesting experiences to share with people in general. And because of that, I usually can always find something interesting to say, something interesting to talk about. And I also can relate to a wide range of things to some extent. A girl can tell me she's from a place, chances are I've been to that place, or I've at least had close associates or friends that are from that place. So I'm able to adapt to whatever topic or subject might come up. And like he said, have a story to tell. Also, I've always been someone that doesn't shy away from adventure. A lot of you guys in this modern day are so starved and deprived of adventure. It's ridiculous. You guys watch movies and consume all this media with characters engaging in risk, the unknown, adventure, spontaneity, surprise. I didn't think that was going to happen, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it makes for great storylines in movies. Well, guess what, fucker? It makes for great personality and character as well. So you need to implement that into your life. Women are the ones that will get a job promotion in another state and they won't move because, oh, I can't move away from my friends and my family. Women are the ones that need to go to the restroom with their friends. They need to go here with their friends, there with their friends. They don't want to go anywhere by themselves. Oh, I'm going to the mall to buy a pair of shoes. Girl, come with me. If you haven't figured out what I'm trying to say by now, I'm going to go ahead and spell it out for you. Avoiding doing things, going places, taking a risk, and engaging the unknown by yourself is feminine as fuck. Okay? That is so far on the female spectrum, you might as well start wearing a bra, dude. Okay? Being able to stand on your own two, right? Be on your square and be confident that you can handle whatever comes at you, even though you don't even know what it's going to be. Those are masculine traits. So if you're not in a position where there's adventure, put yourself in a position where there will be adventure. Okay? I don't care if you got to join the Marine Corps. I don't care if you got to save up some money and go backpacking through Europe. I don't know, dude. That's for you to figure out. But you staying in your safe zone, staying sheltered. If you were raised by a single mom, you probably were sheltered your whole life. It's time to break the pattern. Get up, get out, and get something. And even if it doesn't work out well, even if something tragic happens, bad happens, whatever, again, that's life, and that's what makes for the best stories, and it's also what builds that character. All right? So stop being scared. Stop being a pussy. Go out there and take a chance.
You came to my house for us to enjoy each other on a physical level. And if we're not doing that, then there's no reason for you to come to my house. And it's not about being disrespectful, but or treating women like an object or anything like that, because she's enjoying herself with you too. Don't be trying to do nothing different, because once you do anything different, then you're introducing boyfriend energy. And once you introduce boyfriend energy, she starts to think that she has the privilege of a girlfriend.
Miles Cunningham. So I'm definitely feeling this dude. I've been feeling Miles Cunningham for a long while. You know, I was feeling his boy Lucario, and then of course Lucario put me on to him, and I was like, yo, I like these dudes. But I definitely agree with what he's saying, and this is another place where a lot of you inexperienced guys fall short, because you're not even used to like having women in any facet, so you mix it all up. When you engage with women, there are so many different ways in which to engage with that female, and you have to compartmentalize. You have to keep this shit separate. Okay? Friends with benefits is friends with benefits. There's certain codes and guidelines and protocol to that. You don't break it. Girlfriend, again, same thing. It's a particular category. You treat her a certain way. The expectation back from her is a particular and precise. You don't go out of that. You don't treat your girlfriend like you do your friends with benefits. You don't treat your friend with benefits like you do your girlfriend. Come on, man. Flings. There's girls that it's just a fling. Like literally you might meet somewhere, you're both on vacation, or you're both, somewhere different. You both understand already this isn't going to go any further than this. And if it does, it's because we had such a great time that we're willing to move things around to connect again. Again, it's compartmentalized. It's something different, right? When you deal with a woman in the workplace, different. When you deal with a woman, it's different is what I'm trying to tell you guys. You have to put it in a box and keep it in that box. But you have to understand what is the guidelines, what is the rules, what is the parameters of this particular relationship. Stop following the chick. A lot of you guys is like you're trying to get the chick so much you forget who's the coordinator. You understand what I'm trying to say? A woman should never really have the upper hand or be setting the tone or making the decisions. You can allow her to think that at first. When you're first meeting her, you're first getting to know her, she thinks the ball's in her court. Really, it should always be in your court. Okay? In the beginning, figuratively, but towards the middle and throughout the relationship, it should quite literally be in your control. All right? So that's basically what he's saying in short, is that if she's a friend with benefits, you have to deal with it like that. And the moment you start doing something different and acting, like a boyfriend would, like he called it boyfriend vibes, well, what do you think she's going to do? She's going to respond to those vibes. Remember, women absorb the energy, the vibes, the way you come at them. They're going to go ahead and mirror that and bounce it back at you. Okay? If you're in a bad mood, you're probably going to put her in a bad mood. If you're fun, entertaining, energetic, you're probably going to bring that out of her. If you're funny, you're probably going to bring the laughter and the silliness out of her. That's just how women are. All right. So in other words, women aren't the ones to be creating the energy. They're the ones to absorb it and bounce it back. They're the vessel. All right. So it's just like when you go and buy, two things that go together. One's the male, one's the female. Why do you think they call them that? The male goes into the female. The male influences the female. All right? So be the lead and don't lead her in the wrong direction, because if that's not where you want her to go, dummy, don't point her in that direction. That's simple.
What do you got for me, sweetheart?
I don't know if it's because there seems to be a lot of guys who are being raised by moms or something, but I'm noticing that a lot of the guys, they're very easy to emasculate.
That's what society has manufactured men into today. They've basically pussified them.
Do you find that some of the requests that men are making are a little unreasonable? Because if one guy is already kind of super emasculated and he's very effeminate and he's asking women to
Submit.
kind of, submit to him, it kind of requires you to be, as a woman, a tinier version of herself.
Correct.
In order to deal with him.
You don't have the luxury of saying to a woman, make my bed and continue to do it for me if you're low value. There's a lot of sources out there that like weaken and soften men. There's like a sea of turkeys, and then there's the odd eagle that's soaring above them all, right? And those are the unplugged alphas up there. There's not a lot of them. And women have the expectation for those guys up there, but what they're met with is a bunch of weak pussies on the ground.
Rich Cooper, you're up. So this is another guy that I've liked for a really long time. I've been checking out Rich Cooper's channel for years. Probably one of the guys that inspired me to get into this space. I like the fact that his advice is very, very practical. It's always on point. It's always straight to it. And it's always very, very masculine. I think Rich Cooper is one of those guys that's really good at keeping a male perspective, reinforcing the male gaze. And a lot of guys nowadays, the young guys, they have a tendency to let so much female thinking contaminate their thinking. All right? So don't get contaminated, guys. And I think what happens with a lot of dudes is you're not spending enough time around other dudes. And you're not spending enough time around men that have something to show you, teach you, inspire you a certain way, which is why a lot of you guys, your body language is off, your mannerisms is off, you know what I mean, your demeanor is off, because you're either spending too much time in co-ed environments, meaning that you're around women too much, or you're thinking like women too much, or you're thinking about women too much. If you look at women, they spend a lot of time thinking and talking about men, but amongst themselves, number one. But more importantly, they spend more than enough time being girls, being women, and doing girly things. Women have no problem with prioritizing girl time. They have no problem with alienating guys and creating situations and times to be just around their female friends, and that female energy and that femininity, going around in a loop, right? So as guys, you got to do that also. I'm going to be covering some guys that I think are working jobs that are ignored and are thankless. But one of the things about those jobs I want to let guys know is not only do those guys make a lot more money than you would think they make, working those type of jobs, you develop camaraderie, which is important, okay? Having bonds and relationships with other men is very important. Men your age and men older than you and men a lot older than you. Working construction. All right, being in the military, okay, being on some type of sports team, bodybuilding in the gym. These are all times that you're with other men, you're away from women, and you just let men be men. Being in the barbershop, playing golf on Sundays. You guys have to prioritize these experiences and these interactions. They're very important. Not only they will help you in your own masculinity and being secure in your own manhood, but they will also help you be more attractive and better received to women. All right? Also will help you be a better storyteller, and it'll also give you more material to have interesting masculine stories to share with women. All right? So stop being boring, be interesting. And like Rich Cooper was saying, you have to set yourself apart from the herd. Don't be a duck, be an eagle. That was an awesome analogy. Women are looking for the exception. So many of you guys are whining, bitching, and complaining that you don't have access to women or that you're invisible to women. Bro, so what? So what? Why wouldn't that be the case? Women are supposed to pick the best from what's available. They're supposed to thin the herd. So of course their expectation is going to be something that's superior. It's going to be something that's elite. So figure out how to fall into that category. Figure out how to spread your wings and be a fucking eagle.
You want to bond with your wife, you need to come home with a story to tell. You need some conquest. You're probably not doing shit. You're coming home with nothing to talk about. That's your fault. Ain't her fault. That's your problem. If you were doing enough interesting, then you'd be bonded fine. Too many people in this space, they think they need to go to the woman and change the woman. I promise you, if you're actually the man, it ain't that hard.
All right, Andrew Tate is back again. I could have put his 2 clips together, but I didn't because I like the flow of it. But he's kind of reiterating on what he said earlier, which is basically, bro, you got to be interesting. And you can't fake interesting. You can't pretend to be interesting. You have to actually be interesting. So I want you guys to not only do things in life that are worth telling a story about, but learn how to be a good storyteller. Yeah? I know, I got your back. Next one.
When the girl ignores a message, and by ignore, I don't mean like she didn't reply within an hour or half hour. People are busy, etc. Like, you don't want to like start fucking jumping down her throat just because she ignored for like a half hour or for an hour. You want to give her some time to respond. But say that a bunch of time passes, rather than move on to a new thread, you kind of want to address that last thing that you asked. So one thing that I do, I got this from a guy. He was like 350 count, and then he finally got married, and he was going on tons of dates. And I was like, what are you doing? Because I've used a bunch of different strategies, but I was like, what are you doing when the girl doesn't reply? He says, I'll wait a little bit, and then he'll do ... Okay, so that's what I do. It's pretty effective. So it's basically like, again, it's a non-confrontational. It's technically a call out because you're basically saying like, what the fuck, without saying what the fuck.
All right, awesome. So this is another one from John Anthony. I doubled up on most of these guys. So really, we're all familiar with being flaked on. We're all familiar with being left on red. You know, we're all familiar with girls not texting us back. But I like that he differentiated the difference between a girl not messaging you back in like an hour and a girl not messaging you back in like a day or more. But yeah, I definitely co-sign with the way that he handles it. That is a very, very, what is the word? That is a very, very non-confrontational way of addressing it without making you look weak, without making you look clingy, without making you look thirsty, but also somewhat still asserting yourself like, yo, I asked a question, what's up? So I love it. All right? Don't need to say much on that. He pretty much hit the nail on the head. But do keep in mind, girls, that's something that you can only do once. You know what I'm saying? You can only fire that once. It's like a you know what I mean? It's a one shooter. Bang. If it doesn't work, move on to another girl, forget all about her, and whenever she hits you up, and you take it from there, but you are not the one to put the effort in again. The next time she does decide to get back to you, it's her that has to present something to you, and chances are she's not going to be willing to do that because you guys aren't G's. All right? But you're in the process of learning to become one. If you really are a G, you'll learn how to make women chase you. We'll do a video on that later. Next.
Here's a non-creepy way to seduce a woman when you're out on a date with her. It's simple. Pick her up and carry her over something. Carry her over a puddle. Carry her over an obstacle. If she's wearing high heels and the ground is a little bit uneven, pick her up and carry her over that. Why is this a good thing? It shows that you are a man who is clearly stronger than her. It shows your physical prowess, your physical strength, and that is a very, very attractive trait for a woman who's interested in forming a romantic relationship with you.
All right, it's my boy, Bang Bang Bang, Sterling Cooper again. And basically what he's talking about here is taking advantage of an opportunity to show your masculine prowess. An opportunity to let her know, oh yeah, I'm bigger than you and I'm stronger than you. So this can come up at any time. He gave an example, but this is something that I take advantage of whenever the opportunity arises. If you're working out with a girl at the gym, make sure you never let her move or carry the weights from one location to another. You load the bar for her. If she's squatting, you tell her just focus on squatting. You take the weights on and off, and you make it look as effortless as possible. All right? If you go shopping with a chick or anything like that, you carry the bags. You don't even let her carry a bag. All right? So any opportunity to go ahead and demonstrate the differences between you and her, take that opportunity. Even if it's the mental lifting, even if it's a time when she has some type of problem or issue, go ahead and use it as an opportunity to put your masculine thinking on it, your masculine problem solving, and just remind her you're a female, I'm a male, and as long as you allow me to be in my masculine, well, first of all, a woman doesn't allow you to do shit. So I worded that incorrectly. But as long as you're the man and you're being the man, you allow her to be in her feminine and go ahead and enjoy that, right? And be able to count on the fact that you got everything covered on your front, all right? So go ahead, look for those opportunities, be aware. You know what I'm saying? You got to be attentive because they come in an instant. You have to be ready to jump on it. I know back in the day, the example they give is putting your coat over a puddle. Hey, that's some simp shit. I don't know about all that. But anyway, you get what we're trying to say here. Take advantage of any opportunity to remind her she's the woman, you're the man, and that goes both ways. All right? So if it's time to make a sandwich, you know she's up. Okay? We'll get into how you get women to do their female duties without fucking it up with your approach, because it has to be very, very subtle. And a lot of the issues that you guys are having isn't even so much knowing what to do. That's part of it, but more so you guys don't know how. The how, I think, is what's screwing up a lot of young boys. And the reason why the how is missing is because a lot of guys didn't grow up around men or grow up around fathers or whatever in the house that were basically showing them the how. All right? That's where the whole imitation aspect comes. If you look, not imitation, the whole, like, the copying, you know what I mean? Modeling yourself after someone, you know, hence the term role model. If you look at animals, they always play fight before they really hunt. And even just yesterday, quick little story, little anecdotal observation. I was at Starbucks waiting on my shit, and there was a father there, you know, with his two sons, and the mother was there, but she was like off somewhere, like she stepped out or something. And the two boys, they were getting it in. When I say these dudes were getting it in, I mean the boys were throwing punches that looked real. You know, they were blocking and everything. And I was watching, I was like, wow, this is, I love seeing this, because you don't see it enough. And I mean, the way that one brother was kicking the other, it was like he was really trying to hurt his brother, but both of them block game was on point. It was like choreography. I could tell that these kids play fight very, very frequently. Some of the hits were pretty hard. I saw one of the kids kind of had like a little red hair and whatever. Even the blocks, they were hitting each other's hands very hard. And the father was watching them very intently, but he wasn't interfering. I noticed once the mother came back, she kind of was a little bit uncomfortable, and she was trying to get them to stop. And the father was doing the, you know, let them do what they're doing. So after I got my stuff, I went over to him. I said, yo, these are your boys? He was like, yeah. And I was like, listen, I like and appreciate how you allow your boys to find themselves. You allow your boys to be rambunctious, you know, to be playful, to be rough with each other. And he said, oh, definitely. He said, if they get a little bit too rough, you know, I break it up, I intervene. But for the most part, boys will be boys. I said, exactly. Play fighting turns into real fighting. And the boys that didn't play fight enough are the boys that avoid confrontation as adults. All right? So you guys got to be on your shit. Get those reps in. Be a better you. Next.
If a woman dumps you, there's only one thing that you can do. All you can do is you just need to look at her and you say, okay. She instantly second guesses herself, because here's what happens. When a woman says, I just don't think I can do this anymore, I'm not really feeling it anymore, what she's hoping for, what she's praying for, what she actually thinks will happen is that you will get in a reactive state and you will get emotional, okay? The second you do that, you prove her right. For many times, this is a massive test, and when you pass this test by just saying, okay, all right, leave then, when you're able to do that, I have watched women break down in tears and say, I was just kidding, I was just testing, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. I shouldn't have done that. I effed up. There will be women that say that, and here's why. When you're able to just look a woman dead in the eyes and you just say the words, okay, this shows massive strength.
This one you would think would be like so self-exclamatory, but so many guys don't even get this. So many guys fail the shit test. Fail them. I don't even know why I don't fail the shit test. I don't know if it's because I don't even care. I don't know what it is, but I've never really had an issue with shit tests. Thank God. But it's probably just part of my personality, because that type of shit doesn't even work on me when it's from other guys. You know what I'm saying? If I'm trying to make a deal with somebody and they're like trying to like call my bluff or something, I'm like, all right, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Fuck it. On to the next. And then it's like, oh, no. What? So it's the same thing with women. You know, when they start coming to you talking like that, I'm going to tell you what it really is. When a woman is like, oh, I was thinking we need to take some time away, or we need to have space, or I'm not sure about this, or I don't, whatever. When she starts talking like that, first and foremost, you have to understand women are extremely insecure. They're extremely insecure and they're extremely unstable. That's why they constantly need to ask each other for advice, which I think is ridiculous because they know that their friends don't know the answer to these things because their friends ask them the same questions. So it's like, why are you going to a chick that knows as little about this as you do? But they constantly need someone else to co-sign for their decisions. They constantly need someone to tell them, yeah, you should do that. Or no, you shouldn't do that. They really can't make decisions by themselves. Women are extremely indecisive. So when a woman comes to you talking to you like that about whatever relationship you guys got going on, it's because she's not sure if she should be with you or if it's worth it or if she can do better. But when you sit there and placate to it and say, oh, what's wrong and let's talk about it, or you try to fix something, you're actually validating that you're less valuable than her. Now, that's not necessarily the case, but I'm going to tell you why she interprets it that way. Because what women do is they always default back to their personal experience, either what their close friend or female relative told them or what they experienced themselves. So they're used to guys of a lower value that they're not interested in being the ones to put in all this extra effort. So when you behave that way, they quickly associate you with those guys, and then you make the decision for them. They're like, aha, okay, so you're not worth my fucking time and I can do better. Whew, I wasn't sure. Thanks for saving me. You know what I'm saying? Thanks for saving me the time. Now I can make the decision and I can go ahead and get the hell up out of here confidently because you just showed me that you fall into the category of guys that I don't want. Okay? But if you go ahead and say, listen, whatever you need to do, cool, peace. What you're actually saying to her is that you're not bothered by it because you actually were coming down a couple of notches to settle for her. But now that she's wants to leave, it's like, oh, perfect, please get the hell out of here and create the space and the time and the energy for another female of higher value to come. You know what I mean? You're doing me a favor by getting the hell up out of here. Now, all the pimps I know, they have the same mentality when it comes to that type of situation. Of course, I'm talking about pimps, so they ain't their girlfriend that's talking about leaving. It's their associate or their employee, whatever you want to call it. But they actually have the same exact response. Like, oh, if you want to leave, go ahead and get the fuck up out of here. Because the faster you get up out of here, the faster another bitch can come in the stable. And that makes the chick say, oh, wait, I don't want to lose, because women are terrified of losing something. They're terrified of loss, of losing, right? So the moment you give off that type of aura, that type of narrative, they say, oh, wait, if I leave, oh my God, then I'll lose him. I'll lose this opportunity and some other woman will come and take it. Now, that may not be the case. He actually might not can afford to lose that chick. Just like you might not want to lose your girlfriend. You might not be able to readily replace her. But you can't let her know that. Because by letting her know that, you confirm what I was saying earlier, which is that she can do better and that you're the lucky one to have her, as opposed to her being the lucky one to have you. Remember, women don't give a shit about you. They care about themselves. They want to be the one that's getting the best of the deal. The moment they think you're the one getting the better of the deal, they want to be the hell up out of there, and they'd rather be single and wait around for a higher value guy than you. And if I could remind you guys the lyrics of a Beyonce song, she had a song that everybody said was about Jay-Z cheating on her or whatever, but just pay attention to the lyrics. She said, she gonna take everything I own, I let you go. She gonna have everything I own, I let you go. So in other words, she's saying she'll tolerate him messing around with another girl, because if she breaks up with him over that, then the other girl will get everything that she's getting. That's female logic for you. All right? Now, that's not male logic. Okay, because if you get cheated on as a guy, you need to be like, yo, it's over, man. Get the hell up out of here. Go. He can have you. I don't even want you anymore. He can have you. So remember, think in the masculine, but understand the feminine.
I remember seeing on your channel, you were saying that these are uncomfortable truths. Why do you think it's so uncomfortable?
Because it's hard and it usually requires you to do work. Most women today find the vast majority of men unattractive. And then when you tell guys that they don't cut it, if you tell them, you know, to eat healthy and lift weights and drop the poundage, sometimes that's too much for them. They don't like that. The first step in unplugging is becoming aware of your own BS. The second step in unplugging is starting to become aware of their BS. Women on personality traits are more agreeable, and strong alpha, high testosterone cues men are more disagreeable. These guys make more money. They have more access to women, you know, their entire life. They generally have a better standard of living. I mean, you go right down the list, but the more you lean into being more disagreeable, the better a life you'll have as a guy. Not agreeing with the norm, not complying with the nonsense that they tell you to do that serves their agenda and their narrative.
All right, so I'm going to close out with a very similar point to the way that we came in. You have to put the self-reflection on yourself first before you start analyzing the woman. You have to put the accountability on yourself first before you can start demanding accountability from the woman. You have to build value within yourself first before you start demanding value from the woman. All right, a lot of you guys have this shit backwards, and you get caught in this echo chamber of just complaining about the women, but you guys yourselves are not quality stock. You're not quality, valuable dudes, but you're over here talking about the value of the women. You can't do it that way, bro. You have to do this shit in order. All right, you can't demand a very feminine woman if you're not very masculine. You can't demand a woman to do her gender roles if you're not doing your gender roles. It's that simple. You can't be expecting a chick to cook and clean and cater to you, and you can't protect and provide as well as fix shit, build shit, and solve problems. I mean, come on, bro. This is common sense, guys. You got to be real with yourselves. So a lot of you guys, man, have so much work to do on yourself before you can even start thinking or feeling that you're entitled to a good woman or a quality woman. I guarantee you, you have a much better time finding them, getting them, and keeping them once you build some eccentric value in yourself. All right, guys, so that's what it's all about. Put all that energy and all that longing, all that wanting, all that desiring, put all that energy into yourself first. And I guarantee you it will calm you the fuck down, it will center you, and it will focus you. And when the time for women comes around, you'll know it, you'll feel it, and you'll be able to act on it. That's the best way that I could put it to you guys, all right? And the worst case scenario is you don't get the girl, but you get a better you. So that's a lot better than where a lot of you guys are right now, all right? So I'm going to go up and get up out of here. I hope some of those tips are useful to you guys. Remember, it was a reminder so you guys can stay on code all day, every day, 24/7. Stay the fuck on code. Stop pretending for women and be authentic for yourself. And them broads will come around just like groupies. I'm out of here. Peace.